Gen V Season 2's ending presents some of the most incredible fight scenes from the series and also perfectly pays off many underlying story beats. While at it, it also sets the stage for The Boys Season 5 in more ways than one. Set after the events of The Boys Season 4's ending, Gen V Season 2 continues Marie, Emma, Jordan, Sam, and Kate's story as the four young supes navigate the growing chaos in their world. The show also introduces a new supe villain, Cypher, who eventually turns out to be nothing but Thomas Godolkin's puppet. Before Gen V Season 2's final arc, Marie ends up healing Thomas Godolkin, and he sets out to kill every weak supe to create a world where a few godly supes reign supreme. Unfortunately, for him, even though he proves to be a strong supe, not everything goes according to his plan. Starlight and A-Train's cameo in Gen V Season 2's ending explained. With his incredible mind control abilities, Thomas Godolkin eventually ends up making Marie his meat puppet. However, Polarity soon shows up to save the day, and Marie eventually kills the villain. As a result, all ends well for the young supes in Gen V Season 2's final moments. To their surprise, Starlight and A-Train suddenly show and acknowledge that they are impressed with what they have managed to achieve. The two former members of the Seven invite them to join the Resistance. Realizing that A-Train and Starlight are on the good side and fighting against supe supremacists, like Homelander, the young supes agree to join them. What Starlight's Resistance is in The Boys. Gen V Season 2 does not delve too deep into what the Resistance means, but it is evident that it is a movement against Homelander's reign. The show's titular Boys fell apart towards the end of The Boys Season 4 as Billy Butcher went down his own dark path to eradicate all supes from the world. Starlight, A-Train, Huey, Frenchie, Kimiko, and Mother's Milk now seem to be a part of a team that is dead set on stopping Homelander from creating a supe-ruled world. Since they are resisting his ideals and striving to create a world where both supes and non-powered folks are treated equally, they together form the Resistance. The morally good young supes from Gen V 2 will now seemingly fight the bigger battle against Homelander after agreeing to be a part of the Resistance. At the same time, they will also have to keep an eye on Billy Butcher, who is chasing yet another extreme ideal of wiping out all supes. Why Annabeth's vision of Marie's fate did not come true. Annabeth is introduced as a precog in Gen V Season 2. However, her powers seem to be less under her control, and her visions of the future almost always show up in the most unexpected ways. In one of her visions in Gen V Season 2's final episodes, she sees Marie's death and starts fearing that she will lose her sister. Surprisingly, however, Annabeth's vision of the future does not materialize as Marie eventually survives. There could be two reasons behind this. If the former holds true, Marie managed to defy her fate. However, if the latter ends up being the truth, Marie might die in The Boys' final season. The series has been portraying her as one of the strongest supes for a while, which could mean she might face Homelander in The Boys Season 5. Is that when Annabeth's vision will come true? What Thomas Godolkin's death and Marie's power-up means for The Boys Season 5. Thomas Godolkin could have been another big bad in The Boys Season 5. However, Polarity's ability to resist his mind control power becomes his biggest weakness. His death will still impact The Boys Season 5's events in more ways than one. For starters, Godolkin's defiance towards Sister Sage proved that, despite being the smartest human alive, she, too, could stumble. Sister Sage's plan also went against Homelander because she told him nothing about Godolkin or his return. Homelander likely learned about him after seeing the announcement video he made for all God U students. Owing to this, Homelander will undoubtedly have a problem with Sister Sage in Season 5 and will trust her a little less than he previously did. Marie's power-up in Gen V Season 2's final arc makes her one of the strongest supes in the Boys universe. However, since, for now, she seems to be on par with Victoria Newman, it is hard not to wonder if she can beat someone like Butcher. To be able to have a shot at beating Homelander, she still seemingly needs to level up further. Why Marie changes her mind about healing Kate. Kate broke everyone's trust in Gen V Season 1. Owing to this, all the main young supes had a good reason not to trust her in Season 2. The fact that she worked with Homelander made things even worse. Kate pays the price for her morally skewed behavior in Season 2 when a head injury almost leaves her powerless. She is still able to use her abilities, but they never work as she wants them to. However, this is when she seemingly finds herself and walks down the path of redemption. She feels guilty of controlling her friends and misusing her powers on them. Also, she promises to never use her mind-controlling ability on her friends and keeps her word. With this, she wins Marie's trust again, who forgives her by helping her heal. Interestingly, when Kate was admitted to the hospital after her injury, she unknowingly mind-controlled a nurse without even touching her. This seemingly hinted that she could eventually become as strong as Thomas Godolkin and use her powers without touching. Why Jordan breaks up with Marie in Gen V Season 2's finale. Jordan and Marie's relationship goes through many ups and downs, highs and lows throughout Gen V Season 2. Marie seems a little more sure about how she feels about Jordan, but Jordan shies away from expressing their true feelings. Jordan, too, eventually comes around and tells Marie they love her. Unfortunately, Jordan also realizes that their relationship may not work out. One of the reasons behind this seems to be the fact that Marie, like Homelander, was a Project Odessa creation and was designed to be better than almost all other supes. Something about Marie being overpowered seems to bother Jordan. It seems like they can see how being better than other supes could potentially corrupt Marie. Marie may not realize, but Jordan seems to see some hidden darkness in her that really bothers them. However, there is still a possibility that Marie and Jordan will eventually patch things up and end up together in The Boys' final installment. How Gen V Season 2's ending sets up The Boys' Season 5 mover still DB. Homelander was growing increasingly erratic and impulsive before Sister Sage came along and showed him the way in The Boys Season 4. Sage proved to him that if he followed her lead, he would achieve a lot more than he had anticipated. However, after the whole Thomas Godolkin fiasco, Homelander will struggle to trust her. This could mean that instead of settling for a strategic long-term plan, he will again return to his old ways and unleash chaos in the world. The narrowing of Homelander's vision would lead to disastrous consequences in The Boys Season 5. Owing to this, it is hard not to see how The Boys Season 5 will plunge into a massive conflict, where Homelander will stop at nothing to enforce his skewed vision.